Hey everyone, and welcome back to Escucha. You're here with Megan
and Abby, and today we're going to be talking about cultural appropriation versus appreciation in the culinary world.
Have you seen the boba clip from this Canadian show called The Dragon's Den that came out recently?
Yes, I have. But can you please explain the situation to our viewers?
Yeah, of course. So for our audience members who haven't heard about the recent Dragon's Den controversy, I'm going to break it down for you. So the Dragon's Den is a Canadian version of America's Shark Tank, where companies come on to face entrepreneurs and ask them for an investment in their brand. I'm not too familiar with this show in particular, but I'm assuming they have celebrity guests to be investors, and the guest for this recent episode was Simu Liu.
Yeah, I saw that he was on the show, and the show actually posted a clip of this episode on TikTok on October 10th, which is how I came across this whole thing.
Yeah, so TikTok ended up going off.
Tell me about it, girl.
So on that week's episode of Dragon's Den, these two white entrepreneurs, Jessica and Sebastian, came on and pitched their company Boba, spelled B-O-B-B-A, which they pitched as I'm quoting, ready to go bubble tea drink with an infusion of real tea and unique juice fruit pearls. And that's what's posted on their website. So they're claiming they're making the first ever bottled or canned boba drink in the world.
What? They sell canned boba at Costco. It has Hello Kitty on it.
Yeah, I know. I've seen. It gets worse. So in the episode, they claim that they wanted to create boba, spelled B-O-B-B-A, because they felt boba from boba places were full of sugar and unknown ingredients, which doesn't make sense because traditional boba is literally 4 ingredients, Abby. It is tapioca, brown sugar, tea, and milk. Yep. So they're advertising their drink to be fruit-based and low-calorie.
Yeah, and in the episode, they also claim to have created popping boba,
which is false. It's quite literally been around for at least a decade now.
Yeah, I remember getting popping boba on my frozen yogurt at Yogurtland.
It's definitely not an original idea. The brand also has an alcoholic variant, which they claim to be the first in the world, but that's also false because alcoholic boba has been around for a really long time. And there are multiple places where you can get those in LA. There are multiple different types of boba, milk tea, slush, alcoholic, non-alcoholic, and all of these things they claim to be new within their concept, which I feel like if anyone has walked around LA or even parts of Long Beach, you know that it's not.
Yeah, they're taking this traditionally Asian drink and claiming it as their own invention.
Yes, that's exactly what Simu on the episode had said. He said that he had an issue with the brand coming in and trying to, quote, improve or make something that's near and dear to him, quote, better. He's Chinese Canadian, and throughout the episode he was trying to create a discourse on how claiming this drink to be quote unquote new and not paying any tribute or respect to the country that it was actually created it is really disrespectful. Boba is from Taiwan, and there is nothing on the company's branding that connects it to Taiwan aside from where they actually get the boba pearls.
Yeah, Simu was very outspoken with how he felt towards the brand, and I feel like within the episode, everyone was just dismissing him.
They were, and he was trying to explain how he felt about it, and he kept getting interrupted. Another host, Manjeet, I'm going to talk about her a little bit more in a second, but she said, quote, nothing has to be traditional, and that there's nothing wrong with someone else having a new take on a concept.
I get not having to be traditional, but this is just full on whitewashing it.
I know. Yeah, they're trying to take the idea of this traditional drink that's already been reimagined within the community and claiming it and turning it into their own invention, which is the biggest issue.
Yeah.
You get their boba pearls from Taiwan, but that's where the connection to the drink stop, the roots of it. Apparently there's no other acknowledgement or background on the drink, but you know what they do have?
What?
A raccoon with sunglasses.
No way.
Yeah, so if you go onto their website, it's very tropical looking with pictures of fruit and different animals wearing sunglasses. It's just what their branding is, and it's just bad.
Yeah. Did they even get an investor?
So they actually did get an investor. Manjeet Minhas, who kept cutting Simu off during his concerns, invested $1 million for 18% equity in the company.
Wow.
I know, but not long after the clip was posted on TikTok, the internet completely went off.
Yeah, that's all I was seeing over the weekend after it was posted.
It was so bad that Simu even went on TikTok to make a statement that Boba, the brand, also made a statement too. And in their statement, they clarified any confusion people had while also acknowledged that they want to have more Taiwanese representation for the brand. But it was just such a long apology. It was 6 slides total.
Yeah, it was really long.
Manjeet, the investor, also made a statement on the situation since she was a partner. But it was really bad. You can tell that she was reading off a computer screen, reading off a script. She was not slick and actually faced so much backlash that she ended up pulling out her investment from the company.
That's crazy.
Don't take credit for other cultures' creations if you don't want to lose $1 million.
No, period. That's the lesson they should have learned.
Literally.
Yeah. Agreed. There's so much they could have done as far as marketing, pitch, and cultural connection that they could have done if they didn't want to face any backlash. But also, I feel like this situation would not have blown up if Simu Liu was not a part of the episode.
I agree, because he was, from the beginning, pointing out how this is wrong and wanted to see how they acknowledge the origins of the drink. I feel if they had anyone else on the panel, it would have slipped through the cracks. And I'm honestly disappointed in Manjeet, a South Asian woman, that she invested at all.
Yeah.
These entrepreneurs are non-Asian trying to profit off of a widely beloved drink. And that's honestly, they even admitted that in the episode. They saw, oh yeah, Boba was doing so good. I thought that I just had to come out with an invention.
Yeah, it was purely out of profit.
And that's where the issue lies. You're getting involved in this drink that's very near and dear to a lot of people's hearts, solely based off the fact that you just want to profit off of it.
Yeah. And
what sucks is that they were actually doing a lot of sales.
Yeah.
Millions of dollars a year in sales, which is just wild to me. But, And my culture is not a trend, nor is it something you should be profiting off of. What they're doing is quite literally cultural appropriation. Which reminds me of the spa water situation that was going on a couple years ago, and I know you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, everyone was comparing this situation to the whole spa water thing that happened 2-3 years ago on TikTok, when this health influencer literally cut up cucumber water, sugar, mixed it up, and claimed that she made spa water, when quite literally she made agua fresca. That's agua de pepino.
But that's exactly what's going on here. Trying to gentrify it to make it quote unquote better and healthier while profiting off of it, and not even acknowledging the roots to which it came from is just so disrespectful.
Yeah, and that's something I've never understood, is how people see ethnic food as unhealthy. Every culture has its fair share of healthy and unhealthy foods.
No, exactly. And we're obviously not trying to say that you can't make healthy versions of these food to help, benefit your own lifestyle, but rebranding it is something that's entirely different that's when, to us, that's when it starts to become an issue. Yeah.
And a brand that comes to mind when making ethnic food healthier is a brand called I Love Chamoy. Have you heard of it?
Just bits and pieces of what you've told me.
So I used to see her videos on TikTok all the time, but it's a company that sells sugar-free chamoy. The brand was founded by a Mexican woman who grew up eating and enjoying chamoy her whole life, which a lot of Mexicans grow up doing. Even in adulthood, chamoy is just such a staple in Mexican culture. But after she found out her dad was diagnosed with diabetes, she began developing a sugar-free version of it for him to enjoy.
That's so sweet.
Yeah,
Aww.
I know. And she also went on Shark Tank just a year ago to pitch her idea to the sharks.
How did that end up panning out for her? I'm curious.
Well, out of 5 sharks, only 1 made her an offer. She was asking for $300,000 for 5% equity in the company. And the shark that gave her an offer, Kevin O'Leary, they call him Mr. Wonderful on the show, offered her $300,000 for 12.5% because of how much money she was already making on her own.
That's a wild jump. I'm no mathematician, but I know that's more than double what her initial offer was.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. But fortunately for her, she didn't take the offer and it ended up working out for her. She's doing still pretty well in sales on her own. She does a lot of advertising on social media, and that's how I found out about them.
Did she ever claim to invent chamoy, that like her product is like the first of its kind? She,
No, she did not. Granted, it was like one of the first varieties of sugar-free chamoy.
Yeah.
But she never claimed to create chamoy itself and to steer away from the original origins of chamoy. She just wanted to create a healthier alternative for people who can't have excessive amounts of sugar. And the Sharks really like that. They really like that she stuck to her roots and created something everyone could enjoy. And another brand this reminds me of is the brand Siete.
I've never heard of them.
Girl, stop lying. We're literally having their chips right now.
Oh, this is the brand?
Yeah, this is the brand.
Okay, so we have... that's bad of me that I didn't look at the brand. Not sponsored.
Not sponsored, but Pepsi. So the brand Siete, it says it has their story on the back of each bag, that it was another company that's founded by a Mexican-American woman from Texas. And she had a lot of health issues growing up as a teen and was also diagnosed with multiple autoimmune conditions that really took a toll on her. Mm-hmm. So with the help of her family, she adopted a low-inflammation diet to make herself healthier alternatives of Mexican food classics. And it all started with almond flour tortillas, which you can buy, and they're pretty good.
See, that's like great that she's staying true to her roots while also catering to people who are unable to enjoy traditional versions of these foods.
Yeah, and they make a wide variety. It's not just chips and tortillas that they make. They make taco shells, salsa, cookies, so much more. They all claim to be gluten-free, dairy-free, vegan, paleo, grain-free, and soy-free. Making healthy variations and sticking to its traditional and original forms is so great and important, especially for older people in the Latino community. Like my grandparents, they love Siete tortilla chips, and it's so great for my grandpa because he's diabetic.
Do you think this is like appropriation of your culture's cuisine?
I don't think so. I think it falls under cultural appreciation. The tortilla chips are still called tortilla chips, even though they're made from cassava flour. And their salsa is still salsa. It's just with simple, healthy ingredients, unlike other canned salsas that you might find, like from Pace and other mass-produced salsas. Mm-hmm. So I do feel like many people can have an issue with it because it's not traditional. But they're not branding these foods as something brand new. It's just a brand new version. They've made specifically for people with allergies or dietary restrictions, but now everyone's able to enjoy them.
Right.
And honestly, I'm like obsessed. Like I said, Pepsi, please sponsor.
Well, because I was going to say, you mentioned to me earlier that the brand was bought by Pepsi, which is like a big deal. You know, a smaller company bought by like this large conglomerate corporation.
Yeah. So on October 1st, PepsiCo released an official press release on their website. And do you want to know how much they acquired the brand for?
How much?
1.2 billion.
Billion? Like with the B, not with the M.
With the B.
Wow.
$1.2 billion.
That's a lot. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the fact that Pepsi bought the company? Like, are you afraid that they're going to whitewash the brand at all?
That's a good question, because that's also something like I talked to my parents about because they really love this brand too. Mm-hmm. And in the press release, Pepsi said they wanted to carry on the spirit and authenticity of the Siete brand, which I think is great. They already have the motivation to stick to the roots of the brand, but they also said they were excited to expand their multicultural portfolio, which I don't know what you mean by that, Pepsi.
Yeah, with that statement in particular, Pepsi, I don't really know what you meant by that. I hope you meant to do good by it.
Yeah.
It just sounds kind of like you bought the company in order to like come across as like, see, I support diversity. But we don't know for sure because also this acquisition just happened, so we can't really say that there's been like a drastic difference. Did the founders have anything to say about, the company being bought?
In the same press release, The CEO and co-founder, Miguel Garza, said, "We hope this next chapter for Siete serves as inspiration for other Latino businesses, showing that it's possible to build a thriving brand that honors our heritage and celebrates our culture."
That's a really nice statement.
I think so too. And although they were bought out by a really huge company, I do hope they maintain their success because it's a really good brand. But it's also limited in where you can find it. I've only been able to find it in like 3 places, which is Whole Foods, Target, and Costco. And that's it. So hopefully with the funding of Pepsi, they'll be able to be more accessible to people. And I do like what the CEO had to say in the last portion, because it is possible to create a brand that honors your culture.
And that's the difference between them and Boba, spelled Bobba.
Yeah.
Boba is a brand that was created by people that have no connection to Asian culture whatsoever. And it was purely out of greed that they decided to go into this venture. And I think that's what, Simu had an issue with. I feel like a lot of Asians also kind of have an issue with it, because that's a big problem.
And whereas Siete and I Love Chamoy are both created out of love. Like, sure, they're healthy versions, they're different versions, but they stick to the traditional roots because they're love letters to family members who can no longer enjoy the original forms of this food.
I want people to know the difference between what is appreciation and what is appropriation, because I know that this is obviously not something that's just done with food.
Oh, no. Like, it's done, unfortunately, in a variety of ways, and clothing is the biggest way that you can catch cultural appropriation, which is why we had such an issue with the Met Gala theme that we talked about last week.
No, yeah, because I think I'm not even gonna say I know that the reason why you and I had brought up that issue was because if you look at the demographic that goes and attends the Met Gala, there's a large portion of those participants that have no connection to the African American culture at all. Yeah. So that's why I felt like the theme was just inappropriate for those that are attending, because it's also, you're kind of like pushing them almost. Yeah, to engage in this.
Yeah, and if it's not done respectfully, don't do it.
But there's that, and then like I would even say that, especially with food lately, the one that really made me mad was cowboy caviar.
That one kind of annoyed me, but another one was flat tacos.
Oh, just call them tostadas,
This girl thought she invented flat tacos because she hardened a tortilla and put stuff on top of it.
Is that not a tostada? I think that's a tostada.
It's a tostada, for sure. If you're not paying respects, if you're not doing it respectfully, appropriately, without, I don't want to say without permission, but without acknowledging the culture of which you're getting it from, you should not do it.
I agree. Because I feel like if it's not something that's new, I would say that, I agree with Manjeet. Like, I think that people can take new takes on things, and there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. However, we draw the line where you're trying to pass off something that's been existing in other people's cultures for decades, sometimes centuries, thousands of years, whatever. Like, don't rebrand it and say that this is something that's completely new that the world has never seen. Yeah. It has. Pay respect to that culture, but then elaborate how you changed it to fit like a certain demographic, whatever.
Exactly.
That's fine, but just don't steal it.
Oh, girl, we went on a rant.
We did. I think that's all that we have for you guys today. Thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode of Escucha.
Yes, and please follow us on Spotify and subscribe to Enye on YouTube.
And we'll be back next Tuesday with a brand new episode of Café con Chisme.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.